This is Geometry, Unit 1, Section 1.4. We're talking about the angle lessons, Part 2. So for today's lesson, we're going to talk about the angle addition postulate. Just like the segment addition postulate earlier in our chapter or unit, we're looking at the small angle plus the small angle equaling the big angle. Small part plus small part equals a big part. So we're looking for if P is the interior of angle RST, it's inside angle RST, then the measurement of angle RST is made up of RSP and angle PST. So here it's just written as an equation. If P is in the interior of angle RST, then the measure of angle RST equals the measure of angle RSP plus the measure of angle PST. So when we look at example 1, we have a small part plus a small part. We're looking for the measurement of the whole angle. Given that the measure of angle GFJ is 150, GFJ, that's the whole angle, is 150, we need to calculate what the measurements are of GFH. So every time you read an angle, you need to trace it out with your pencil, with your finger, or at least with your eyes, to figure out where those letters line up so you see what angle they're talking about. We also need to know the measure of angle HFJ. So we're going to start out with the measure, the big part equals each of these small parts. We know that 155 degrees is the big angle. 4x plus 4 is GFH. And 4x minus 1 is HFJ. Add your like terms together so you get 8x. Notice we're not subtracting. We're just doing exactly what it says because we're on the same side of the equal sign. We're going to do exactly what it says. A positive 4 and a negative 1 gives you a positive 3. Subtract the 3. Divide by 8. And 8 goes into here 19 times. So if x is 19, that's not 19 degrees, it's just the number 19, that's the value of x. But we still don't know what the measure of angle GFH equals. It equals 4 times 19 plus 4. So that's 76 plus 4, which equals 80 degrees. And the measurement of angle HFJ equals 4 times 19 minus 1. 76 minus 1, which is 75. And those two answers together add up to what the whole thing's supposed to be, 155 degrees. Our next example, we look here, given that angle VRS, so look at where that angle is, VRS, is a right angle. Well, what's a right angle? A right angle is 90 degrees. You see the box in there. They're telling you that the big angle, the biggest angle here, is 90 degrees. Find the measurement of the smaller angles, VRT and TRT. So we're going to start out with the big angle equaling the smaller angles, the sum of the smaller angles. We know that the bigger angle is 90 degrees. The smaller angles are the expressions that they have written in the figure. Collect your like terms. Now because we're going to the other side of the equal sign, we're going to do the opposite sign. So that's why we added the 2, because we went to the other side of the equal sign. Four goes into 9 2 times with 1 left over, which makes it 12. 4 goes into 12 3 times. So in this case, we know that x equals 23. Well, if we're looking for the measurement of angle VRT, which is 23 minus 4, that gives us 19 degrees. And the measurement of angle TRS is 3 times 23 plus 2. That's 69 plus 2, which is 71 degrees. Together, those add up to 90 degrees. And that's what the big angle was. VRS is 90 degrees. These two added together add up to 90. We seem to be on the right track. On the next page, we're going to identify all pairs of congruent angles in our diagram. And then if the measure of angle P equals 120, we're going to determine what the measure of angle N equals. Now when you look at these geometric figures, notice the number of tick marks that different angles have. These two are the same. These two have the same amount of tick marks. There's 2 curves and 2 curves. They're the same, so that's telling us that angle L is congruent to angle M. If you want to put a little curve marker through your angle, you're welcome to do that. I typically don't. But if that helps you keep the difference between L's and inequalities, that would be fine. We also have angle P is congruent to angle N. Well, in this case, if 2 angles are congruent to each other, we also know that they are equal in measure. And we see from our given information up top that the measurement of angle P is 120, so we'll substitute in the 120. So the measurement of angle N is now 120 also. And that's what we were looking for. What's different about this question? Looks like the same picture we've been working with. A big angle broken into 2 different angles. But this talks about ray WY bisects XWZ. XWZ is the big angle. Ray WY bisects it, which means it breaks it into 2 congruent angles. Notice the tick marks in the figure. It has 1 curve, so that tells us that those are congruent. So angle XWY is congruent to angle YWZ. If they are congruent, then we know that they are equal in measure. Angle XWY is 29. So that tells us that the other angle clearly is the same thing. It's 29. So to calculate what the big angle is, it's going to be 2 times 29. It's going to be twice that amount. The total angle is twice the amount of either of the smaller ones. They're both the same because we have a bisector. What's different about number 5? There's no picture that's drawn. So we're going to start out with our picture, and we'll call that X, W, Z. And we have WY that bisects it. So that means it breaks it into congruent angles. So the tick marks just tell us, since they're the same amount, tell us that these two angles are congruent. So I know that angle XWY is congruent to angle YWZ. If they are congruent, then they are equal in measure. And since x plus 13 is the value of XWY, and 3x minus 17 is the value of YWZ, they are going to be equal because they're congruent in the picture. So you know their measures will be equal. So we go to the opposite side of the equal sign. So we have to change the sign. Negative x on both sides gives us 2x. Plus 17 on both sides gives us 30. Divide by 2. X is 15. Now they want us to find the measurement of XWZ. Well, first of all, we need to find the value of one of our angles. 15 plus 13 equals 28. So the measurement of angle XWZ equals 2 times 28, which is 56 degrees. That completes our second lesson on angles.